The Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Power Media, in case you didn't know. Yes, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and we have another banger for you today. Let me introduce my crew. Coming through, we got Lucretia Williams. And wait a minute, we need a pitch up. Ricky Ryan. I was like, wait a minute, where Ricky at backstage? She's still getting her makeup done, my bad. All right.
Not in the mornings.
What's good, peoples?
What's good?
What's good?
How was your weekend, Ear Doctor?
My Ear Doctor weekend was subtle. No gigs this weekend. I'm so stunned. I just actually got to clean up the house and do some personal things, hang out with my kids a little bit, and that's it. What about you?
What did I do? I feel like there was a lot of meetings.
Okay.
I was on Jackie's show. Me and Onye were on Dr. The Blue, and then
right.
Hood Communist was on following that on Lukewan Nation. Even Salifu joined for Burkina Faso, so that was fun. I had to jump off because I went to a rally for International Workers' Women's Day in support of Palestine. So I went to read the BAP statement that we released on that day. Yeah, that's pretty much just moving and moving. I think all these days are like joining in.
All right. Lucretia J, what did it do today?
Yeah. I haven't been well. I've been trying to get better, switching medications. So feeling a bit better this week, but glad to be back. And I wanted to tell you, Ear Doctor, before too much time had passed, I've seen RRR based off your recommendation, and it was amazing. Had to kill the nephew as well. It was awesome.
God, it was amazing, right?
It was amazing. Loved it.
Let Ricky know a little bit about it.
I'm like, what's that?
RRR is this amazing Telugu film, and it stars two. Oh, gosh, what can I say without like telling the story?
Bollywood.
Well, technically not Bollywood because it's Telugu language, but there are lots of different dubs, so you can watch it in Hindi and But it's about two men who. Oh gosh, what can I say?
Tell it. Go ahead.
It's colonial time in India, and two men they have different agendas, but they're working for freedom for India. And a lot of camaradeliness, a lot of bromance. It was awesome. It was just a great movie.
I mean, the action packed and the fighting scenes, everything. It was like, yo, I've never seen a movie like that before, and I was like, wow. I was like, damn, okay,
I'll put it on my short list.
What is it called? The African stuff? I know Indians.
What, Nollywood?
Nollywood. Okay.
I love those. But I'm a long-time Nollywood girl.
That's the worst acting ever.
Relax.
Hang on.
Come on now.
Because Castle has some good acting.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's that guy's name who stars in Castle? He's a good actor. I can't remember his name.
I can't remember.
He's in a whole bunch of them, though. He's a really good actor.
All of that should go straight to Tubi. I'm telling you.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, wow, that's disrespectful. That's rude.
Wow.
His range in Nollywood.
Oh, be like,
what is it? What's the movie? Something Kings?
Shocking.
What's that lady? I can't remember.
Oh, yes.
You should watch that. You should
Clash
watch that.
of Kings or
something? No, something with the Kings. I can't remember.
Yes.
I'll find it out. You should watch that, Ear Doctor. You would like that.
Okay, put me on, please.
Yeah, because there's like a plethora of them. I mean, they have the goofy ones, like just like we have. You know, I mean,
you ain't lying. We do got.
That's not no Academy Award film.
No.
So just like they have their kind of silly movies, but it's a lot of good films. That the best K-dramas are really good.
Which ones?
K-dramas, like the
South so good.
So
yes.
Yeah, y'all got to put me on there because the best one I seen is the one when they was fighting over the makeup industry, and that was a newer one on.
Oh, that was good too.
That was great.
That's in South Africa, I think. They have those too. What's the other one about Christmas? That the girl who died. How to Ruin Christmas?
That one was fun.
Really okay. But the woman who starred in it, she passed away.
Mm.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry to
Yeah.
hear
Okay.
that.
So we putting y'all on remixes. These I guess they gonna put me on because I ain't never heard none of these joints for real. Yo, I had a it's Women's Wednesday and everything. I had a question, a random question. What is it? What's the most valuable information you got from your mom? Was that good, Ricky?
Let's slap the map and come back.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because I have a West Indian mom, so there's
Oh,
like a lot of colloquialisms, a lot of sayings. So she'll say stuff like "laugh and cry, live in the same house." So yeah,
okay. Laugh and cry, live in the same house. That means we gonna be here. So it is
well, it
what it
means
is.
that have fun now, bitch. We're out now. The consequences about to swing back.
Oh
I love that.
wow.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Well, not Lucretia. You can't think of one jewel your
Uh,
mom dropped.
I'm thinking of something my grandma said, which
Okay.
I come from generations of pastors, and she would say, like, never enter a place that's spiritually dead. And I
Mm,
tend to think about that in other organizations or groups, like, what's the mission, vision there? Like, is it alive? Is it growing? If not, like, get out of there. So,
mm.
Mhm.
Okay.
hmm
Remixes. Give us some of your knowledge too of what your mom's bestowed into you that helped you to be who you are. I would say I didn't get a lot from my mom, but my pop said when you start something, finish it. That was the biggest thing I got from him, and I always carry that on. Start something, finish it. So that's why we here. All right, so listen, I don't know what else it is to talk about, but I will say we do have some guests coming through at 9 o'clock, so that's going to be something. Ricky, who we got coming through?
We got some Baltimore members coming through to talk about our latest statement. So I'm
Okay,
excited about that.
okay. So how does the BAP thing work from being upstate New York to? How do you even make it to the meetings? Is it most of them virtual, Lucretia, or what?
Well, there's
yeah,
reasons.
All right.
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead.
I asked Lucretia.
Yeah, I was gonna say, go ahead, Lucretia.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say it's virtual, hybrid. A lot of them, encouraging folks to come in person. I try to come down, but it's difficult, and I really would like there to be like chapters higher in the Hudson. I mean, we need that. We need BAP folks
Mm,
everywhere.
mm. Upstate New York. That's where you getting sick.
Probably.
Come on down. Well, it's too full in Atlanta. Stay there. I'm just
No,
fooling
yeah, well,
with you. You think you can make it down here in the A?
no, no.
Oh, why not? You can make it in New York. You can make it anywhere. That's what they say.
I'm not really in New York City.
Oh, okay. You on the outskirts. All right, got
Yeah.
you, got you. All right, so I guess we could go ahead and take our first break. Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. Please make sure y'all hit that like button. Well, I'm about to do that in the break anyway. So let me go ahead and get right to it right here, right now on the Remix Morning Show. Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. And please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Also, go to patreon.com and become a member over there. We got some things over there you need to see. So you can share. And also, you can drop something right here in the chat room, which helps these hosts stay around. We want to keep them around, don't y'all? All right, with that said, let's talk about, well, you hear it in the back. This is one song that came out a while ago, and it came off a soundtrack, the Panther soundtrack. As you can hear in the background right here, it's a song called Freedom, and it came off the 1995 song release, and it had over 60 sisters on this track. 60. We talking about R&B groups like In Vogue, Escape, Aaliyah, Vanessa Williams, Mary J. Blige, MC Light, SWV, TLC, Monica, you name it. They had them. They had everybody on there. And this was actually a song that was redone, that was done by Joy, the singer. And the song was also produced by Dallas Austin and Diamond D. Yes, Diamond D. Diamond D has touched some dope tracks. You talking about the Fugees album and that, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, this had everybody on there. And they got together and wanted to represent something about giving their honors to the people in the past that made moves like Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Rosa Parks, Coretta Scott King, Shirley Chisholm, Angela Davis, all the different sisters that made their mark. So this was, they had a Panther movies, different ones, but this is one that a lot of people didn't remember or might have forgot about. But go check it out, and you can hear this soundtrack right here, and you can hear these sisters getting busy. Like I said, so many different people on this track. We even talking about TLC. We talking, man, the list goes on and on. Jade, y'all remember Jade? They had like one song, Brownstone. Come on, go check it out. That's what it is. So let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning Crew. You know how we do.
We've been together since I created Border. The African border celebration is in order. Pop the cork and give champagne to the stork that brought the light to my mama in New York. African, I come again and again.
Yeah.
So I remember that song sucked.
I wasn't gonna say nothing because the movie was bad too.
Good morning, Kamal. Coming in on that Brooklyn shit.
I'm not trying not to support, but I just don't remember. I was like, yeah, you know how people try to do those anthems and themes, and sometimes it's a hit or miss. You always want to give credit for the effort. I kind of feel that way about We Are the World as a song,
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like as a song, it's like, wow, it's kind of forgettable, but it raised a lot of money, and that was good. In fact, you look like the actor who played Huey, like an older version of him. Yeah, you
Really?
He's talking to.
I was looking around. I was like, me?
Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was the son of either Cheech and Chong.
Oh, really?
Something like that.
I'm sure you'll pull it up and find out that he also had a white wife, but yeah, probably.
Probably did.
So how you doing today, bro?
I'm good. All's good in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't expecting to be here on, what do you call it? Women Wednesdays?
Women's Wednesdays, yes.
I'm gender fluid. I can be a little gender fluid. I appreciate the invite and everything like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool with y'all, ladies?
Well, I wasn't going to be here by myself, so certainly.
Everybody came.
Are you going on a ski trip? What you got that jacket on for?
Yeah, I just got back.
From ski trip?
Mm-hmm.
What you representing Team America?
I love it. No, I love it. I love the look. I love it.
No, it's the Babsky team. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Puerto Rico or America. I thought she was representing. Okay.
I can be all those things and more. Yeah.
Word. So that's what it is. That is your one-hit wonder for the day, and a little flashback to a song that y'all might want to check out. And
or not.
Let us know exactly. All right, I'll let y'all get to it.
Peace.
Peace.
How's everybody doing? I'm sorry, I missed my favorite part, which is the Gab Fest at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. You did.
You did. It was fun.
It was fun.
It was. I enjoyed it.
Oh, I guess that means y'all wanted to slap the map, huh?
Well,
Wait a minute. Can we at least ask him what wisdom what's the biggest part of wisdom you got from your mom?
Oh, wow. There is so much. And I actually mean that. Actually, I believe I got politicized because of my mom. Like, I tell the story that she grew up in Jim Crow South. My mom was born in 1941. She would relate stories about what that was like. I often tell people now the story about how she had a scar on her back from getting hit by a white cop, being in a white-only playground with her friends. They were running out, and she was slower, and the cop hit her in the back, busted her back open, and she had a scar until the day she died 2.5 years ago because of that. And that kind of stuff just wakes you up to the world. My mom was an extremely honest woman. So she, no filters, pulled no punches. She had jokes. So even my sense of humor is like from my mom. So there's a lot of things that my mom taught me, just even survival tactics. One of my earliest memory, now you're going to get me walking down memory lane, Brooklyn memory lane. One of my earliest memories is my mom cutting her boyfriend. I literally do mean that because she was throwing him out the house. And it's like, I didn't see it. The little bit of blood here and there. So I was like, oh, yeah. So there's a lot of good memories.
This guy. But yeah, I would have to wait till my mother is also departed to tell those stories come out, because there's a lot of those stories.
But no, that's true. Like some stuff I decided, like you know what? Not that my mom listens to anything I do when she was around, right? Not like the Kamau thing was just like weird to her. She's like, that's not your goddamn name. I didn't name you that, whatever.
Mm.
And then my full new African name came out, Ade Abiodun, and then her and my sister would have great jokes going, what? Kamau Abiodun? What is that name? They
Oh no.
yes, and they would crack each other up. So yeah.
Yeah, I really do be like that sometimes. With your people.
Yes. So yeah, so that's what I learned from my mom's humor, because I am funny. I saw that in the chat, B. I saw that in the chat. Politics, even you know, the little bit of Brooklyn I still got in me. I saw it from my mom, even though she was from Charleston, but you know, she lived the Brooklyn lifestyle. Yeah.
Back down memory lane.
Don't play this one though. Any other song but that one. No, because she was dying when she sang Memory Lane.
Oh.
She had the candy. Memory Lane's too much. Too much.
I love the musical tidbits that I learned from you all. I love that.
I have a good friend who would get drunk and play Memory Lane. So that's why I'm like, girl.
Like when y'all sad?
Yes.
That's awesome.
They tell the whole story about how Minnie Riperton came to make that song and why. Like that's why I'm like, let me not.
Wow, that's definitely smacked the map on that.
Yeah.
Hit it. Here, Doc. Peace, everybody. We're here at the Remix Morning Show. I'm here with Lucretia, with Erica. It's Kamau on, you know, Kamau Wednesdays, or whatever we want to call it today. So we just enjoyed it. We're already up to 228 live views. Like, hit those likes to make that equivalent. Y'all know y'all can always give a little cash. You know what I'm saying? We always need a little something to help us out. We are here with some dope stories. I understand we got some dope guests coming on later on. I'm gonna keep using the word dope because I was a 1980s baby or 1980s young adult. So yeah. All right, who got something they want to kick us off with? Anybody got something they want to kick us off with?
Yeah, we could talk about Haiti. I put something in the chat. It's a video. Yesterday they had a press hearing on the current situation in Haiti, and it was shared with me because someone said, have they been reading BAP? So I just thought the reporter, because a lot of the questions the reporter asks really dug into the sort of legitimacy. We keep hearing that Henri has resigned. So the question that becomes, how does a de facto prime minister resign? Because when we say resignation, that gives some sort of legitimacy to a democratic process that never was. Nobody voted for him. So he presses him on that.
Okay, that's funny.
Follow up on his point about the resignation of Ariel Henry. After Moïse's assassination, Henry was plausibly linked to it via phone calls and others, and was not in line to take power, but it was the U.S. and the core group that kind of recognized him and pressure Joseph to power. He was seen as illegitimate at the time, called a de facto prime minister. In retrospect, was it a mistake to have pushed Joseph aside or pushed anybody aside for Henri, given that Henri now, a couple years later, is out after a failed?
So ultimately, that wasn't a decision for the United States, and what happens now is not a decision for the United States.
The U.S. and the core group made the decision by recognizing it.
We will continue. Our goal all along has been a transition to democracy, and trying to be able to keep on the ground.
As he looks like Dracula.
So that Haitian political leaders have the room to make the tough choices they need to make, so they can transition to democracy and have free and fair elections that aren't marred by gang violence. So that was our goal when the president was assassinated. That continues to be our goal today. But ultimately, as I said, these are decisions that Haitians have to make, that the United States and other countries in the region, members of CARICOM and other countries cannot make for them. They're decisions that ultimately they have to make. We will always make our decisions about when and how we can recognize governments, but when it comes to the disposition of governments in Haiti, those are questions for Haitians.
But then why endorse a foreign intervention of troops from outside of Haiti to come in? Like in 2004, 2010, 2021, the State Department, the core group got their way when it came to who would form the Haitian government. That's setting aside the occupations and invasions of the past. What makes you confident that this time it's going to work? So all the other times it did.
So first of all, I'd say that the multinational security support mission will be there at the invitation of the Haitian government. That is a key prerequisite for their deployment.
That you will decide on.
You guys just made that government in Jamaica.
But it's what the hold on, it's what the Kenyan government said in their statement, that they have to have a government that has invited them with which they can collaborate. That's why they're looking for the appointment of this presidential transition council and ultimately a new prime minister and ultimately a new government. But when it comes to what just happened in Jamaica, again, this was a collaboration of CARICOM leaders, Haitian civil society, the United States, Canada, France, Mexico, Brazil, all of whom have an interest in seeing stability and all of whom have the same goal, which is to address the immediate security situation on the ground, restore calm, restore peace, restore law and order for Haitians, and then establish the conditions in which free and fair elections can take place. That is our only goal. It's what we've been trying to achieve from the beginning. It's what we're continuing to try to achieve.
Are there any Haitians that the U.S. would not allow to come to power through that process?
There's not a question of the United States allowing anyone to come to power. Ultimately, as I said, that is a question for the Haitian people.
Wow. I don't know a place that has seen the American flag that has also known peace. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Not even in our own communities, right? But I did appreciate that reporter. I agree, because I think that he really laid out some really good context. Obviously, after the assassination of Jovenel Moise in 2021, Haiti deepened into a bit of a crisis in that summer following. And then, we remember the headlines of the kidnapping of that family, et cetera, et cetera. Henri was placed in around that time. And he was placed in, obviously, by the core group, the US, the UN, collaborating. But in the last, I want to say from 2021 up until Kenya agreed, the U.S. has been shopping countries to take on this multinational security position. They went to Mexico, they went to Canada. At the time they went to Mexico, that petitioned the UN Security Council to think about pushing that back. We wrote to Mexico, we wrote to China, Russia, etc. There was a hold on it at that time. Then Canada said, no, they don't want to take, they don't want to be the face of it. Last summer, they went to CARICOM, Kamala Harris, and Hakeem, the white man's dream, Jeffries, who were at the CARICOM here session. They had invited Paul Kagame and also William Ruto. And I think the leader of Mozambique was also present. And CARICOM was actually shopping around for people who would be able to take this on. So there was about 3 African nations and a few CARICOM countries, no Haitians. Mm-hmm. So even when he says Haitian civil society, that's not really true either. Mm-hmm. There's never been Haitians at the table to make these decisions. Haitians would have never chosen Henri to begin with if they were, because you remember they had the Montana Accords. They were attempting to establish some democratic process, and then Moise was murdered, and then everything kind of just happened speedy. So now this is where we are with CARICOM sort of taking the lead in this process of assisting the U.S. in backing Kenya. So much is so that Jamaica and the Bahamas have said, oh, if Kenya does this, then we will send troops. And Mia Mottley, who's a fraud, has also agreed to do that. So now all the chaos has ensued. Haiti's in dire conditions, and now you're hearing all this conversation about a de facto prime minister who resigned. And I want to keep reiterating, because I think that's a really important point. he was never elected. So he cannot resign from any position. And when you hear things like that about a de facto leader, what you're hearing is that the people who placed him in power took him out of power.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing that so they can prep up or set up for the next person to come in, which is why Blinken was in Jamaica, which is why they all have a stake in what's happening with Haiti, which is why Mia Mottley can make a statement saying that, hold on, what did she say? She said that, yeah, it was reported that the Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley opened the discussion around what's happening in Haiti and laid out some of the key criteria for being a member of the panel that will have presidential powers. They cannot run in the next election. They cannot have been accused of convicted of crime. And more importantly, they must support the multinational security support mission to Haiti. Those serving on the Presidential Council will vouch to support the UN resolution for the mission to allow stability and security in Haiti. So Motley's collusion with the US and the UN, she's making it clear that any president externally chosen for Haiti must support this multinational push. And if you listen to what Henri has said in his statement, is resignation, quote unquote, he's saying that he will step down when they appoint someone, and they will not appoint someone who would not agree to occupying Haiti. So this is the games that's being played here. And this is just a continuous systematic assault against Haiti, and they're using quote unquote gangs, which should be understood as paramilitary forces, to subjugate Haiti and undermine its autonomy. And they're even saying things like cannibal gangs now. And they're talking about the prison breakouts. They're using all of these things as a pretext, but it must be understood that it's a crisis of imperialism that's happening in Haiti, and it's being upheld now by neocolonial puppet institutions like CARICOM.
And let's remember, the only free and fair elections that ever happened in Haiti twice elected Aristide to power, who was then twice overthrown by the United States. So even, and obviously the history of U.S. occupation in Haiti is extremely long and well documented at this stage. So the answers by the spokesperson for the State Department were ludicrous on their face to try to suggest somehow that the U.S. has not been involved in the internal decision making and guiding and leading and taking over, since the 1800s. So it's a ludicrous suggestion, and for him to stand there with a straight face and try to even walk through that shows the sort of level of propaganda that they are willing to sort of espouse in order to sort of keep this mockery going. But I think the history you laid out was fantastic, because it just continues to demonstrate that nothing gets done in Haiti. When Haiti attempted to break away again from the U.S. orbit with all and any of the mistakes that Aristide made, the decision made was to bring the hammer down and then to control elections more tightly ever since then, so that kind of thing could not be duplicated, which is how we got sort of the different so-called Haitian prime ministers that followed Aristide. Most of them were obviously to the right of Aristide, and they totally sort of tried to gut everything that Aristide attempted to do again, in trying to redistribute resources to the Haitian people. Lavalas obviously still exists, but it seems to be existing in sort of a diminished capacity. Many splits that have happened in between since that time period. So there is a social movement that is still alive in Haiti, a radical movement that is still alive in Haiti. But whether or not it has the strength right now to sort of express itself and be that wave, the flood, as Lavalas means, that it once was, is still in debate. And that those folks and those groups also need our support during this time period as they struggle on the ground. They're not a military group. Those different groups and formations, they don't have the weaponry that these militias have, that the elites have, obviously that the police have. But they should be taken seriously in terms of the commitment and the work that they've been doing for decades in Haiti. And we need to do what we can to support those groups too, which are continually engaged in labor strikes and other social movements, even during this period where these militias have taken a lot of control of what's happening on the ground in Haiti.
Yeah, I was going to note to your point. that is why we've seen the sort of paramilitary build up in force over these last couple of years, especially after Henri had, was appointed into power by the core group, because essentially what they have been doing is putting down those worker struggles and those worker strikes. Henri has been doing a lot to sort of sell off or make deals with the nation's land, etc. Right before then, Moise had drained the Petro-Caribe, and we know that for months and maybe up to a year, Haitians have been in the streets trying to, and he also was breaking the Constitution by trying to extend his stay, and that was being backed by Biden when he came into office. So I think that the context of all that's happening in Haiti is really important, because February 29th made 20 years since Aristide's removal, right? Where they put this man on a plane and flew him to Central African Republic, and then would not allow him to come back to Haiti. And I think this context is really important, because once you said that he was the only democratically elected leader, and they removed him twice. And since 2004, Haiti has been under continuous occupation from the UN. They had said to have disbanded that initial group, but then they created BENU. So the UN never left. The core group in the OAS has been deeply involved in these elections. We can talk about Martelly and then even Moïse, because even when we talk about these sort of elections, the OAS still decided who was the winner. So there was never any free and fair elections granted to Haitians. And civil society, and as you said, there is a strong resistance movement, and they have been thinking about different ways to implement going about struggling around unity, because like you said, there's a lot of splits and a lot of different political opinions. But like the Montana Accords is an example of that. The calling or pressuring the UN Security Council to push for an arms embargo, right? Because Haiti doesn't manufacture guns. So all these guns are coming in from Miami specifically. There's been several federal reports that have named Miami and as the origin of a lot of these weapons. So these things are important, because they always make it like Haiti is so ungovernable, but Haiti has never really had a chance to govern itself at any point. It's certainly not in the last 20 years. So when we hear about these things, and I always stress, the way that they talk about gangs in Haiti should be recognizable to us in the way that they talk about the rising crime, because they're all used as a pretext to occupy. We're seeing cop cities pop up. Why? Because of these carjackings, all of these draconian laws around crime bills, and what we're about to speak with the interview with the BAT Baltimore members about the juvenile laws that have been passed here, or the bills that are being passed here in Maryland. All of these things are happening because of quote unquote rising crime, or the way that they have criminalized a particular community so that they can use that as a pretext to occupy. And we're seeing that with the gangs, because these gangs are not for the people. I know people would like to slay them or depict them as revolutionary, but I think there has to be some really understanding of what's happening in Haiti to really have an understanding of the formation of these gangs. But they have always protected the ports, which are owned by a particular class of Haitians. They have always protected, even when we say this gang violence, it's concentrated in Port-au-Prince, and it's concentrated in Port-au-Prince for a reason. It's in a particular area of Port-au-Prince because they've been protecting that area, or they've been putting down protests and workers' struggles in that area. But it is out of hand, and I don't want to diminish the violence, but the violence is not in and of itself. The violence is the result of this continuous denial of sovereignty and self-determination for Haitian people, and this onslaught of the U.S. agenda, because we could say this is a UN mission, but it's a U.S.-backed mission that they're using the UN as cover, because the U.S. is paying Kenya. Now they're looking for someone else to do it, and they're upping the ante with $100 million more. It's already $200 million. So yeah, that's the situation. And I also think progressive leadership stops at the borders of Haiti. Everybody talks about Lula, especially in the context of Palestine, right? Oh, he's kicking Israel out. Oh, good for Lula. The way that Mia Mottley is discussed, right, as this beacon of light and hope in the Caribbean. And both of them are actively campaigning to occupy Haiti. And we really have to think about, what does that mean, especially on the left, right? because there's a particular chauvinism that's coming out of CARICOM that's always existed. Haiti is not even entered or was a part of CARICOM until the 90s, and CARICOM has long existed. So there's always been a chauvinism for these CARICOM nations and paternalism around Haiti, and I think that really needs to be addressed because the Nkrumah name, neocolonialism, is what the highest stage of imperialism, and we're seeing that play out through CARICOM in regards to Haiti.
No, I think that's exactly correct. I mean, that's Haiti has always been subjugated, and you're right, like, except for Venezuela during a particular period of time. Cuba, obviously, also, but Venezuela, which has supplied resources, Cuba, which has supplied doctors and other stabilizing resources for Haiti during a particular time period. Most of these other nations, even when they have so-called leftist governments, still treat Haiti like it's an imperialist project for them to make and change and be a part of, and even prove their credentials, particularly when it comes to Brazil, who was part of the invasion because it wanted to show that it was, well, partly because it wanted to try to show there was some sort of burgeoning world power, right? And so we gotta, Haiti needs to be free. It needs to be freed by Haitians. And that is the role of many of us, is to support the Haitian social justice movements, the resistance movements in Haiti, so that folks can have the cover that they need to struggle and to fight. And you, like when you mentioned the code words that are used, the ones that are used here domestically, the predators, gangs, all those kind of things. They just switch it around in terms of what context they're in, whether it's international events or here locally or whatever. And terrorism is obviously the umbrella for the last 20 years, at least 20 to 30 years now, of like the line that gets drawn when you can tell they're setting up for a new law / policy for more cops in our communities, or they're setting up for some sort of military invasion by branding people or branding groups in certain ways. And again, even like you said, even if some of the issues or thorny, they're not necessarily always straightforward, but you can tell when the imperialists are at work, they're using their propaganda schemes to start branding, which then the New York Times picks up, the Washington Post picks up, the LA Times picks up, and then all the local news stations get oh, this is what we're supposed to be doing next. Let's cover it the way you said we cover it, right? Except for a couple of reporters who actually do dig in, actually do get facts. We have to understand that the mainstream elite, or the corporate elite newspapers which set the agenda for what's happening, are fully aligned with the imperialist project.
Yeah. And even to that point, the cannibal gangs thing is a headline. And someone had noted that it was said once by, I think it's Ian Miles. Is that his name? He's a nut. But and then you just seen all these African pages just repeat it word for word, like the entire headline. So they're running with cannibal gangs too, without any introspection. So yeah, hands off Haiti.
Hands off Haiti. Yeah. So I have some good news to share, though. Good news.
Yay. Good.
Yeah. Because it looks like our dreams have come true. It's official. The matchup is going to be Trump and Biden. We're going to get our debates that some of us have so been looking for, not because they're going to discuss anything about dismantling imperialism, redistributing resources. Nah. This is, but we're going to get out the funniest debates in a lifetime. Something to take solace in, as of course, as they continue to do the wrecking the havoc that they do. But so Donald Trump has clinched the Republican nomination for president. Joe Biden, the incumbent president, who secured the Democratic nomination early Tuesday night. So it is official. The Republican and Democratic primaries are over. There are different candidates who may still continue to run. There's Robert Kennedy Jr. There's a couple of other people. I'm assuming Cornel West is going to continue to run. Obviously, what's the other party? Jill Stein is going to run, and it's going to be a few others. But the main parties, or the main imperialist parties, have picked their candidates. It is the same candidates who ran last time. They've secured their nominations. There's still calls for people to vote uncommitted, and people have in some of the primaries, in the Democratic primaries, and that is a way of showing a level of resistance to having Joe Biden, or attempting to withhold the vote to get Biden to change actual policy in terms of giving weapons to Israel. But even within that, these folks have secured their places as the nominees for the next presidential election.
Wow. It's almost like we knew who those people were going to be. Wow.
No, that's how it works. Like, they got the money, they got the notoriety, the party's backing them, and they shut out anybody else, of course. So it's not like, the United States, unlike some other systems that have the parliamentary systems where people get percentages based on parties. This system is dominated by two extreme parties. Extreme is in neoliberal extremism, and extreme is in conservative extremism. Which again, both have the sort of limited ideas of what is allowable debate or acceptable debate, what are the margins of debate. There's no debate about capitalism. There's no debate about imperialism. There's no debate around the truth about white supremacy. There's no debate about any of that stuff. There's a narrow amount of debate that people are allowed to have. And again, within its context, whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump, their policies around immigration, around foreign policy, around some nuances around internal policy, around who gets what for some kinds of debt relief. But most of those policies are the same. It won't change anything in terms of people's everyday lives, because it's about making sure corporations, developers receive most of the benefits, whether that are tax giveaways, whether or not that's actual resources that are going to them, that they're the ones who benefit from whatever party is in. And they make sure that they spread their wealth to both parties, so that no matter who gets in, they actually have the ultimate say on how the country is governed. So just to make sure people understand that.
I don't know, y'all. I really don't. I think it's still making that argument. I mean, people are still legitimately trying to make the argument of lesser of two evils. They are legitimately still trying to fearmonger around fascism. But again, in all these major cities, I think London Breed, there's not enough discussed about London Breed, though, and the mayor in San Francisco. She's really awful. But she's been quietly getting away with awful stuff. I think they just sort of criminalized houselessness in San Francisco under her watch. But she's been terrorizing the homeless since she came into office. There's the National Guard in New York City subways now. So it's a lot. So to still try to convince people that we need to beware of fascism as it's unfurling in front of our eyes is a really hard sell. And I do think that they are in a bind. I remember reading that the Democratic Party couldn't get anyone to go to Dearborn because nobody was trying to have those conversations with people, trying to convince them to vote for Biden as he's doing what he's doing. Like, nobody wanted to do that. So it was really a hard sell to even get people into Dearborn. And then we've seen, I think they pushed for it to get 10,000. They got 100,000. So I think to that extent, I think the uncommitted votes shows the possibility of organizing and creating a voter bloc, but I don't want to give too much credence to it right now on a primary level because I think there's still room for us to push a particular kind of thinking around uncommitted. Like, just detach from the whole fucking party. Don't just stop short of the primaries. But you can see that Biden's feeling that to the extent where he is now openly talking about Israel and humanitarian aid at the State of the Union, but then he's also saying shit like illegals and so we're just reminded that the parties are not the same, and are not different. And especially Biden has always been this sort of moderate right politician, and it's just seeping out now. So it's a really, really hard sell. I will say though, the opening picture of that article, wow. They can't tighten Biden's face up no more. He can't see. Look how closed his eyes are. Look how closed his eyes are. They cannot pull it back anymore.
I think his navel is all the way up here now. I think it's really his chin. I was like that. I think that's how much they've pulled the skin up. I was like, I keep a toe, let's say, in voting rights world of folks I know who have organizations or do that work, particularly locally. And I spoke at some foundation thing a couple of weeks ago, and I told them that like, if you guys have to sit it out, like you are the ones, you who are thinking that you're liberal and progressive, but you still keep feeding people's whims that if we only get these Democrats in, things will be different. And so as much as you guys think you're being progressive, because you won't make a clean break and sit an election out and force hands. No one believes that some real change is going to happen, and or B, that you're doing anything more at times than shuffling people back into the idea that the Democratic Party is going to be our savior, when the Democratic Party represents a certain wing of the elite ruling class, and they're not about to do anything dramatic or significant unless people break away and either do a third party movement. I don't believe you can really take over the Democratic Party, because I think if you actually got people to say like, oh, we're taking this over, and it became something where there were radicals in there, all the money would leave. You know what I mean? So it's not like people are going to let you take over that party. People have to divest from that party, understand that, there will be some losses in terms of who's going to get there. But unless we divest and it's one of the few Maoist things that I agree with, and show the contradiction very clearly around what it is that we need and what they are giving us, or what we are willing to do to show that we are not going to just play this game of voting for these neoliberal moderate Democrats. They get to continue, at least in their mind, string people along, continue to get that money to dish back out to their lobbyists and all of the sort of professional consultants who tell you how you should vote. They're going to continue to do that stuff because the folks who claim at least that they're progressive to left do not make that break. They are too scared to make that break because, again, they have their own reasons and their own things that they get out of it. But it's a break like that that's going to be needed to show that there's any hope for reshuffling the deck around how these electoral politics work in the United States.
And I think that idea, history and memory is a funny thing, because it's like we did have other parties and members of lots of different civic organizations early in the history of this country, but there was a active repression of communist, socialists, any left-wing thinking. And suddenly now we have, well, not suddenly, but to people who are not thinking about the long historical picture, it makes it seem like there's only been two, and this is the way it's always been and always will be. And I think, bringing up that imagination of that it's actually possible to break away. And of course we can, like, why not? Like, let's do it. We're dying here. So I think making that actually visible in people's minds.
Well, you know who we have to make visible in people's minds right now? The Ear Doctor.
Yeah. So,
Whoa. You been working out a little bit?
Right?
The arms look a little pumped.
Hang on, let me see that again.
Do that again.
It's probably been a minute since you wore a short sleeve, though.
I think that's why. Yeah.
I think that's why it's so
adjusting my headphones. I don't know what you mean. But anyway, I was back there pondering, and I was thinking about what we could do to solve this whole presidential problem. So we was talking about movies earlier, and there was a great movie that came out. It was called Brewster's Millions. And Richard Pryor was in it. And the thing was, vote for none of the above. I feel like we should do that slogan and put Kamau in place. He got a decent looking family. He got 2 kids. You got a dog?
No. We
We
don't got
can
a
rent
dog.
one. We can rent one.
We
You got the boy and the girl.
You got the boy and the
Decent
girl.
looking.
He's a decent looking. You couldn't even give. You couldn't even
Doesn't
give
have the dog though. You got to get the dog.
We can rent a dog.
Right. You need the dog.
We can rent a dog. And
It's
listen,
a high
you got,
yellow family. It's a high yellow
exactly.
That's what we need,
Right.
right?
And we can put you as
No
none of the
nonsense.
above.
Wife. I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, which I should say,
Funny timing of Obama.
we would not expect to have a high yellow family. So me and Negat were both looking to sort of darken it up. To be honest with you, in
With
terms
each
of
other?
like preferences,
Okay.
idea. But we found each other and but that
My
was
dog is
not.
really
Yeah,
cute. You can borrow her. She's adorable.
yeah.
Do you think Agat will allow you to have a second wife? Or maybe y'all can.
No.
How's that going to get me elected to anything? Who's
Well,
electing that?
I thought
And
you
I don't
saw-
want to say I can't take. Yeah,
Okay.
that's just a lot of work.
I was talking about darkening up the family to go find
Yeah.
somebody else.
Yeah, I know.
Eh,
I could have an illegitimate kid
But really, for real
Right.
though, I mean,
At a boarding
really,
school. Yeah.
at a boarding school.
I really don't get it though. It's like, yo, how do you really vote for either one of these people? It's like you just is the thing not to vote? Is the thing to vote for Cornell? Is it? I'm so confused. This right here, I mean, I don't really vote like that on a regular, but this right here is just like you're gonna give us the same trash to take out.
And even though I don't always agree with everything about PSL, and I'm not 100% committed to the project about them running candidates, whatever, I will say that the idea of building third parties, the idea of building something connected to leftist parties, will take a lot of time because it's not going to get supported. But I do think that, and even Jared's idea of the after party and other things of that nature. So I do think at one point I thought the Green Party, and I thought when Cornell, when he stayed, Cornell needs somebody to like some blinders on or somebody to just make him do whatever. But I thought early on, not obviously, I never thought that he could win anything at this stage, but I think like a Green Party or a party that is building outside of the national election cycle and doing more local stuff. On the ground, Worker Families Party, I don't necessarily agree with their national selections, but things that they've done locally, I respect more. So I think there's ways or avenues, as you're suggesting, but it's about the commitment. It's about the resources. It's even about, again, holding things together when things look like they're about to crumble, or controlling some of the infighting in some of these things. But I do think like people who, particularly folks who are serious about that area of struggle, and that's what they believe in still, but they still consider themselves left or progressive, or they see a reason why we should be participating. I think those things are possible, and I'm not saying that they're easy, but I think some of those things are possible and have to be more readily studied and evaluated and thought through, and then tried at certain levels or whatever.
Support
I'm
you
inspired
too.
by. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead,
I'm
Lucretia.
just gonna plug in my organization. Support you,
Well, I was-
People's Progress Party.
Yes,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
was gonna say, I'm inspired by Brother Julian Muntakim's The People Senate and work like that um, he's trying to do with other comrades. So I think I'm inspired by like visionary ways of thinking about how would we organize before, during, and after the revolution. And so, like, what would a Senate, a People Senate, look like?
But the third party don't got money to promote like all these other people.
Yeah, and that's on purpose,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's
But unless you build it, you still got to, knowing that, like that's already a known thing, but there are avenues of reaching people that can get you enough resources so that you can start making some hay. Again, whether or not at the local level, a Worker Families Party to a degree, or the Green Party, or other parties, other independent parties, can sprout up and do things, I think is still the thing that we have to again, for those who fight in that particular area. I still think it's a strategy that can show itself to have some dividends. Sorry for the capitalist analogy, whatever. Get some victories if stuck to and done right and reworked when need be. But I think because there's so many people who still believe in that, right? They still believe in that process. They still believe that if they vote, whatever. And so I think there's avenues there that we have to tell. When we did the Jackson Plan, again, part of it was using not only grassroots politics and other things, but what could it be accomplished in the electoral arena? And there are some things that should be studied about what happened out of that, because there were nominal victories in terms of we did get people elected. But then the question becomes, what was the structure around that to make it so that it's not just someone who has a radical past or a radical part of a radical history, but implements sort of neoliberal politics, or is liberal at best, or if you can't recognize the difference between the policies of a so-called radical and a so-called liberal in DC or something, then then the question becomes, what's the point? And so some of that means that the structures that were built around that person, as good as that person may be or feel, have not been adequate to be like, no, we got to move, we got to push more left, we got to push more left, or we got to do these other things, or we got to redesign how we're doing things, or even challenge as opposed to sticking to the script, particularly around things that are easy for our community to see, around bad policing or police violence against our community. So those kind of things are there for the taking strategically if we have the infrastructure around it, so that one individual, again, no matter how radical they are, don't slip into the easy liberal speaking points when they're talking to the media, because they think that's what they have to do in order to be taken seriously or to survive or to win again. And it's tremendous amounts of pressure on folks to do that. But if we can't exert our own pressure on the left, then that's what happens. People drip. Even when they have the politics, even when they're committed, even when they've done political education, people will drip to a moderate base or understanding of how they should be doing that stuff, because that's also in our head from the living in this propagandized system. That's what other people are telling them to do because they've watched TV and seen other politicians do it. So unless there's structures that hold these folks accountable, when we say, hey, run for this and do this, then that's part of what happens, that makes those projects not live out what they really can be based on what we thought we were doing at the beginning. And that's again, the Jackson Plan is just one example, but it is something I think we should all take some deep dives in around what went right, where we made our mistakes, what can we learn even after winning, supposedly winning some electoral office that we thought, or we could use it to radicalize things. And then again, what are the limitations of that anyway, right? There are built-in limitations. So even the most radical person, there's built-in limitations around what they can do in that office anyway. And so having a clear understanding of that also, when doing that, also can help with why or when it makes sense to do it.
All right. Right, you have something to say, Ricky, to follow up?
Yeah, I was just going to say quickly, because I know we got to hurry up, but I was going to say quickly, like in terms of Ujima, I mean, just getting on the ballot is a struggle in itself, right? Because the state continuously changes the rules, ups the ante about how many signatures that you have to compete. So it's not really the goal or the aim. It's not the elections per se, but the base building process of getting to that ballot point, and what it takes. Because if we say we get on the ballot and we run and we lose, is it really a loss if we have built a base around us that can sustain a particular political power? And that's what we're attempting, more so than the actual election itself.
All right. Well, it looks like we're going to have to wait another 4 years or so, because I don't think we got enough time this go around. But let's go ahead and get to our break right here on the Remix Morning Show, as we have some guests coming up right here. Remix Morning Show. Let's go. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Please make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com and become a member over there, and you can also drop some change right here. We definitely appreciate it. Right in the chat room, super chat. All right, with that said, I'll give you a quick mix. You can check me out usually on Sundays at 8 p.m. But right now, I give you a little something as we get ready to continue on. And we have a halftime show right here. So let's go right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's do it like this.
If I could give you the world on a silver platter, would it even matter? You'd still be mad at me. If I could find in all this a dozen roses, which I would give to you, you'd still be miserable. In reality, I'm gonna be who I be, and I don't feel no faults for all the lies that you bought. You can try as you may, break me down, but I say that it ain't up to you. Gonna do what you do. Hate on me, hater. Now or later, 'cause I'm gonna do me. You'll be mad, baby. Go ahead and hate. Go ahead and hate on me, hater. I'm not afraid of that I paid for.
Yeah.
Let me get a copy of that.
You like that?
Yeah,
Something,
I like that.
I'm gonna start dropping more jewels on the on the platform, some little mixes and stuff like that. Keep y'all heads bobbing. You know what I mean?
You should.
So a little bit of Jill Scott and Soul to Soul, keep on moving, little mashup. So yeah, that's what it is. Y'all ready to do this? We got all our people. Wait a minute, is this the same Jamila that be talking all that in the chat room about me?
Oh,
I want to see
is
this.
that all you care about? Whether somebody be talking trash about you in the
Yeah,
chat
yeah,
room? That's
no,
that's
no.
all you. That's all they are.
I've been hanging around
Jared too long.
My
Jared.
pettiness.
Is that same person?
Let me find out. I be seeing that name, talking that. All right, but anyway, this ain't about me. This is about what is it, BAP? Yeah, that's right.
What is it, Bap?
I'm out of here. Let me get out of here and let y'all do your thing.
Peace.
Peace. Yeah, I had. I guess he's supposed to do an intro, or should I do?
Yeah, drop that intro. Yeah, Doc.
Peace. All right, supposed to be one more person here, but I am Erica Keynes. I will be speaking with some of my BAP Baltimore comrades, about a statement we recently pushed out on Monday. BAP Baltimore and the Ujima People's Progress Party denounced Maryland's unjust juvenile justice bill. There has been proposals for the last couple months, I think leading up to a year, around considering upping the ante on how they are going to deal with some of the criminal activity of what has been happening in the city and the state. So they've been using the carjackings across the as a
My bad, Ricky. Could you announce our esteemed guest?
Yes, I'm giving.
Whoa. Yeah, let her do her
Wow,
thing.
like that's
Yeah.
rude as hell.
Yeah, let her do her thing. She'll do it when she needs to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, finish.
Thank you. So that has been the pretext for criminalizing not just Africans, but the youth specifically across the country. So when this came out, we wrote a statement, and today Jamila Alexander from Bat Baltimore, and I believe Sheena Oliver will be joining us as well from Ujima People's Progress Party, are here just to talk a bit about the statement and the overall conditions that we are facing here in Maryland. So peace, Jamila, if you want to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, peace, everyone. My name's Jamila Alexander. I am a Baltimore native, and I'm a part of the Black Alliance for Peace Baltimore chapter, the Haiti Americas team, and I am a new member of the All African People's Revolutionary Party. And I'm really excited to see you all today. Ear Doctor, yes, I am that Jamila in the chat, and I will say that Jamila in the chat because I've been watching this show since 2020. So Black Power Media helped me get to the place that I'm at now. So I'm really appreciative for all of you all on the screen. Thank you.
All right. Not sure where Sheena is, but we can start, I guess, grounding some of these questions. So they passed this legislation now where ages 10 to 12 can now be charged. They have also extended the allotted time for probation for ages 10 to 12. So it's in connection with what's happening in DC with the crime bill and this, giving the punitive measures and juvenile incarceration that has been shown to be ineffective in reducing youth crime. What do you believe motivates state officials to continue pushing for these measures despite evidence suggesting that they don't work? They're not the best approach. And additionally, how might the Black misleadership class interests align with promoting punitive measures? Because this is happening under Black state officials, Black governor, Black state prosecutors, Black Congress members. So if you want to just address that.
Yeah. So one, it's kind of hard to look at what's going on if you're looking at it from a perspective of all these people are Black. The mayor is Black, the senator is Black, the city council president's Black, and the constituents are Black. But that's the thing. They want us to look at color. They don't want us to realize that this is actually a class issue, and that Maryland is set up in a particular way where the poorer areas or the areas that are heavily populated with African and Latino people are purposely divested from, and crime bills and different sorts of prosecutions are put against people that live in these areas. So for example, in Baltimore, Maryland, they have always been very, very hard on the youth in Baltimore City. But over the past couple of years, we've been able to see the particular demonization of the squeegee boys, the kids that are spending time in the summer at the malls or at the Inner Harbor. And all this stuff really started amping up really after COVID in 2020. And we also were able to see the connections in DC with the carjackings, that going into Prince George's County and also a little bit of Montgomery County. It ended up being a thing where it started connecting Maryland from DC all the way up to Baltimore, where you can see that these laws and these certain measures are being put out purposely to pretty much control the youth, the children, and the adults that are living and are from these maybe lower class, more areas that have way less resources. I mean, the education system is garbage. The housing programs are garbage. The job programs are really bad. So these people are being kept in this particular class space. Their children are being kept in this particular class space so they can build the next generation of people that will be able to support the backbone of Maryland. So how that connects to the Black misleadership class is that they are the ones that are spearheading these laws. Before Marilyn Mosby got the boot, she tried to lessen some rules so certain things couldn't get you thrown in jail anymore. So if you were using drugs that were not deemed as legal, they couldn't really throw you in prison. That would have to be something that would be worked through with a recovery center or a certain like what's that word, y'all? Help me out. Like a rehab program. But now these people, so like if a child gets caught up in something like this, they're going to be punished with prison or jail. And then understanding that in Baltimore City, if you look on Baltimore Court Watchers, they have had about 4 years of data tracking, being able to count that these prosecutors do not let people out on bail. 4 out of 5, even in the month of August, were held without bond. And so what does that really mean now that we're involving 10 and 11-year-olds? We've already dealt with curfews growing up in Maryland, it's particularly in Baltimore. Now we have the risk that you could get caught in curfew so many times that you're now being thrown into jail for a long period of time at 10 and 12 years old. So I yield there.
It seemed like, why do you think, or what's your analysis of why we fall for this so easily? I feel like, even going back to like the so-called crack epidemic, you had like a certain part of our community, a conservative part, maybe a church-based part, that really was revving up part of the rhetoric or walking that same line of like harsher sentences or put people in jail. What is it about maybe the propaganda system that works on our community the way it does, that has not only these sort of Black misleadership class or Black bourgeois figures who are doing this, but sometimes there is an element of local support or on the ground support for it that allows them to sort of justify their actions?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we understand what we understand here as Africans that organize, that the media directly targets the people that they're trying to push these laws to. So for example, in Baltimore City, it's really weird, but a lot of people watch Fox News. That is like one of our major local stations here in Baltimore. So they get a lot of their information on what's going on around the city, what new programs are coming up, and what possible crime to look out for via Fox News. And so when we have these stations like Fox and WBLB, BLA, I think that's what it is, these different stations are pushing squeegee boys are harassing motorists, and we need to figure out how to get them into. Sorry, y'all. We have to figure out how to get them off the streets and stop harassing motorists, and they're causing these major issues. Oh, the youth are at the harbor every summer fighting, and we can't go to Towson Mall or this space without the kids there. And so it's what they're doing is playing on kind of the weaknesses that people have, because that they're being consumed all this information. So when we look at the fact that there are so many different media channels and different spaces that are pushing this line into our community, people are becoming propagandized, brainwashed into believing more than what they're actually seeing on the streets. Because people that grow up in these neighborhoods, kids are rowdy, they're whatever, but they're kids. Growing up in a city like Baltimore, we all have gone through that experience of being able to move around the city and be a child and live. But now it's being played that youth are bad. These children or these young people, they will bring destruction to your life. They'll take what you have earned, and not understanding that they're truly harming the community that they say that they're trying to help or serve. So that's just a purposeful way that people have been able to do that. And also we have to understand these Black misleadership classes, they rely on the local churches and the local petty bourgeoisie systems that have already been set in place, and this African community that lives inside of the US. So they play on the fact that a lot of people that are African in the US are conservative, and do not look at these things as being, oh, these are just kids, and stuff like this happens all the time. So those are just a couple of examples. Let me know if I missed anything.
No, I think you answered that well. So one of the things I was thinking about as you were talking is like when we look at the dynamics of the city, especially with youth, right? A lot of
Mhm.
the after school programs have been shut down. A lot of the community centers have been closed. They have closed a numerous amount of public schools. There's no real area for these kids to go. And then when we consider the disparities in treatment of Black students in education, and then also in the juvenile justice system, um, that already exists in Baltimore, how, like, what effect do we think that creating a cop city on an HBCU campus in Baltimore will have relating to this bill?
Yeah. So this is like the craziest part about it all, right? So back in 2017, I was a senior in high school, and they had announced that they're cutting our art programs in Baltimore City because they wanted to be able to contribute to the casino. But we would get them back because the funds that were going to be raised at the Horseshoe Casino near the Inner Harbor would be coming back into the school system through taxes, and would be able to hire more teachers, larger programs, etc. This was 6 years ago, over 6 years ago. We have not gotten a single dime. The money is being held at North Avenue, which is controlled by, that's where the Board of Education is for Baltimore City, which is not controlled by the constituents in Baltimore City, it's controlled by the state. So we don't have any control over where that money goes, if that money goes anywhere, or if it just sits at North Avenue and goes into pockets of other people. So when we know that part, and we also know that Nick Mosby and his little background friends are proposing a $3,300 million project on the Coppin State University campus. And if you are from Baltimore, or if you live in the Maryland area and you've ever had the chance to go to West Baltimore and be near Coppin, this area, which it was actually Nick Mosby's previous district, has been purposely divested from, left behind. There are buildings falling around the entire Coppin State University area. You go down North Avenue to Coppin State, all you see is abandoned houses on North Avenue, or just homes that look like maybe one house that people are living in, but everything else is surrounding that house is literally boarded up, or the windows are broken, or there's no roofs on the buildings. This is the area that they're talking about building this $100 million facility on. So when we look at this and then we look at this, we're like, okay, why are you building this here in particularly? Who are you trying to police and why? And then when we think about the history of the 1033 militarization of the police universities, we know that Coppin has militarized police equipment on their campus. So does Morgan. And we think about the fact that in the recent years, a lot of the youth have been way more susceptible to joining social justice movements and understanding that, hey, this doesn't seem fair on my campus and it doesn't seem fair on the streets, and making that connection. So what it looks like to someone like me, and then also thinking about the Deadly Exchange program, right? Knowing that Baltimore City Police train with the Israeli occupying forces, and they bring that training back here into Baltimore, similar with Atlanta, similar with DC, similar with all these different places in the US. We know that this is like a planned thing to police the citizens, and particularly the youth or the Black citizens in this country. So we know that this cop city will affect Coppin youth. Coppin is pretty much a university that is full of students that are actually militarized. They have a very strong ROTC program. So even when we as BAT Baltimore go there and to do canvassing, it's kind of hard for the kids to conceptualize what we're actually talking about. In connection to, they see what's going on in Palestine and their hearts break for it. But for them to connect that to what they're actually being built up to do, it's kind of hard for them to get to that place. So I did want to just throw that out there and we have to understand that Maryland has always been punitively punishing their juveniles here. We can talk to different people in Maryland and we'll hear stories about family members being thrown in the House for Good Shepherd, which was a school for unruly girls. This is a Catholic state, so the church has a lot to play with a lot of the punishments and rules that happened in Maryland and the policing that happens here. A lot of people don't even know that Baltimore City Police Department trained the Montgomery Police Department that actually attacked those children with the dogs and rushed them down with the water. That unit was trained by the Baltimore City Police Department. So that was brought from Baltimore into the deeper South. So when we make these connections and we understand that all these things are set up for a reason, it makes a lot of sense to why it's happening, where it's happening at. And then the idea is, how do we connect our neighbors, our community, and the masses to understand that all these things are structurally built against you? How can you educate yourself to get ahead of it so you can talk against it? So yeah, I yield there.
I didn't know if you had. Okay.
No, I didn't know if you did. I wanted to allow you to ask a question.
So I like how you're tying together because this all seems to be around taking back space, right? Like not only capturing humans, but taking back space, obviously for a larger gentrification project. And it seems like this is something that's been happening. Some of this you did describe in Baltimore for a while. Can you talk about maybe a little bit about what you guys see on the ground in terms of how gentrification is how it's happening in Baltimore, like here in Atlanta? Because I think we here have like what's the UPS Foundation that's named after his mom's. I think it's in Baltimore too. But there's like big foundations, there's the colleges, there's obviously the developers, there's the corporations. And again, they're just reclaiming space through the idea of pushing people out or criminalizing people as one method, in addition to some other methods around rent increases, housing increases, and all the rest of it. So how do you guys see, or how do you see things like that happening in Baltimore right now?
Yeah, thank you for this question, because it really does connect all of us here in colonized spaces. So to understand ourselves as Africans, not African Americans, but as Africans that are the descendants of people that were captured and brought here through slavery to the Americas, and we are still captured. We don't have the power or the autonomy to make liberated zones or to be able to actually flourish in an area that won't be taken by the state at any time that they decide. When we look at Baltimore in particular, is a very interesting city because redlining was born here. Baltimore is the place that the rest of the US built off their segregated lines at. We have a very different and diverse population of people we've always have with the free Africans that were living here during times of enslavement. And then when immigration was happening, a lot of people that migrated from Italy and Poland came to this area. And also a lot of Jewish people came to Baltimore. So with that connection in Upper Park Heights, there is an entire Orthodox Jewish community that honestly, for a really long time, were the only people that would sell homes and different spaces to Africans that lived in Baltimore. So all these things, and Baltimore is very different because when we think about gentrification, we think about, when a lot of people think about gentrification, they think about white people coming into their space and making it look all pretty and then kicking everyone out. And Baltimore is a little bit different because what happens is a lot of the areas in Baltimore are separated by neighborhoods and not by sides. So what happens is the gentrification here looks more as expanding out of their neighborhoods and taking over the neighborhoods that Africans lived in, or pretty much allowing these neighborhoods to fall down, be destroyed over 20, 40 years, and then taking that space when it's like $1 or very, very cheap to be able to get from the state or the bank, and then building it up and then selling it for way more than it ever cost. And then moving in Black people that are from other places in Maryland that may not have the political education and understanding that they are a part of a different class, even though they are Black, and that they're moving into a community, upping the rent, changing the environment. What happens around here, there's a lot of jokes here in Maryland that you'll hear if you're not from here, where everyone's always joking about Baltimore and how poor Baltimore is and how ugly the people are and how they dress and different things like that. And I didn't connect it until I started organizing, but these are like the little tiny things that capitalism gives people to separate ourselves from each other. Baltimore is the inner city, but the same conditions that are inside of Baltimore are inside of Prince George's County. They have the same crappy police system. They have the same messed up politicians. They have the same horrible school system. They have been purposely divested in these ways so that this community of the richest Black county in Maryland, not anymore, now that's Charles County, has been purposely divested, and the people that were in the chocolate city of DC are now pushed out into the suburbs of Prince George's County. And we're seeing this very similar things happening in Baltimore City down in PG. But 10 years ago, these people in Prince George's County were the same folks that were making fun of Baltimore. And now you see this component of they can't afford to live in these areas anymore because they've priced them out, and we're young adults that just are in entry positions. So they're moving to Baltimore, upping Baltimore's pricing, bringing their classism and their different ideologies and spewing them into that city. So what we see is pretty much like a liberal combination of people that may think that they participated in social justice or anything like that in the past, but they're more so interested in nonprofit work or a work to better themselves, very individualistic careers and different things like that that we're seeing in Baltimore City. And it's very interesting on top of that. I want to mention before I get off of here that Baltimore pays the lowest in this area county-wise. So when we talk about Baltimore's minimum wage, Baltimore City's minimum wage versus Baltimore County's minimum wage or PG County's minimum wage or Howard County's minimum wage, Baltimore is significantly lower salary-wise and minimum wage-wise. So a lot of people in Baltimore will end up living in Baltimore, but working outside of the city, and vice versa. The higher positions, like social workers that are a higher level or doctors or different stuff like that, they won't even live in the city. They'll live in the urban counties and then come into the city. So we have these components of people that are working or living in places, but spending half of their time not in the areas that they're spending their life at, right? So they're not connected into what's going on. So we're trying to educate these people. We're also trying to educate the art community that can be very individualistic, but is doing an amazing job, particularly Artists Against Apartheid. But it's a push and it's a journey, and we have to do it because while we're sitting here dealing with all this different stuff, they're attacking 10 and 12-year-olds, and these kids will grow up and they still will be in the system. And this will be the next class of workers to build very easy devices that will be able to be cheap labor for companies to be able to build stuff off of. And we don't want that to happen anymore in Maryland. I have family that are locked away in maximum security down at Laurel. I'm tired of hearing the stories. I'm tired of not being able to talk to them. I'm tired of not being able to send books to them. But Maryland is set up in this way on purpose. You look on the outside, you look at Maryland, you think that it's a blue state that has all these Black people in power. We got the first Black mayor, all these. You don't look at the background. You don't look at the why. You don't think of Maryland as the South. We are the South. We are the bedrock of the U.S. We are one of the first colonies. We have to realize that all the stuff that's happening everywhere else started here first. So I yield there.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate you bringing that context because I think that's one of the things that we try to do as a Mid-Atlantic region. Baltimore, I moved into Maryland in 1999, and it's always been, especially since I live in the county, it's always been like Baltimore versus DC in that aspect. But as the years gone by, you've seen Baltimore and DC start to move into my county. They're no longer living in those areas. So those beefs or those segregations were coming into the county and people were trying to do turf wars here. I'm really from DC, I'm really from here, but neither one can go back. And I do think it's really interesting that along the Beltway of 295, you have from connecting from Baltimore to DC, all of these new punitive measures, including an FBI headquarters that's coming to PG County. And all of this is happening. And I do think there needs to be a more concerted effort to connect how Maryland functions, especially particularly how Maryland has underdeveloped Baltimore to that extent. We could talk about Baltimore being the initial redlining or as a redlining district, but I really think it's important to look into Dr. Lawrence Brown's work around how Baltimore's redlined under, if they call it the white L, black butterfly. So you can see the exact way that they have divided Baltimore into specific places. And I do think it's really important that we make these connections because the crime bill in DC is going to have as much impact as in Montgomery County or PG and vice versa, because those police officers are allowed to travel through those lines. So all of these things I think are really important that we cement that this is one region with the same problems and the same leadership.
Yep. We are structurally placed in this location, as Dr. CBS likes to say.
Yeah, shout out to Black Skin Red Skin. So thank you so much, Shamila. You can find our statement on blacklionesforpeace.com. It's our latest one. Please go read. Please share it around, especially if you're in this area. Please share it around. And shout out to Sheena. Sheena tried, y'all. Sheena tried to get on. But next time, hopefully, we'll have Sheena on to talk about Ujima.
Yeah. Oh, one thing before I get off. Sorry, Kamau.
No.
Invite everybody to our town hall this upcoming Saturday. So the Black Alliance for Peace Baltimore chapter has partnered with the Maryland Council of Elders, Ujima People's Progress Party, and the All African People's Revolutionary Party to produce these beautiful community-based town halls in the West Baltimore Douglas community. We invite everyone from around Maryland and all around the city because it's more about making these community connections and talking about topics that people don't know about, connecting local topics to our international missions and stuff like that. But this one on Saturday is going to be about African women in resistance. We're going to have some amazing speakers there, some international Africans that are not from the US. So I did want to invite everyone out for that. You can find that information on our Instagram, BAP_Baltimore.
Oh, no, I just wanted to thank you for coming on and tell you are welcome anytime to come on. You get on Ear Doctor's nerve, you are welcome anytime to come on here. You should be a permanent co-host from you pick a day. Thank you so much for coming. I just want to say thank you, and we really appreciate the analysis. It was great.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. And look, I'm a baby organizer. I got to get strong like y'all before I get on a screen like this again. But I'll come on, support all of our missions, and thank you all for the work, and have a great rest of y'all day.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jamila.
Right. Take us out, Ear Doctor.
What's good, everybody? Welcome out. You know what? I'm gonna have to put some respect on Jamila's name now. She came through and represented. Big up. Put some respect on mine. We can share the respect. All right, so boom, let's take a quick break and we're gonna get right back to it. It's Women's Wednesday. Before I get there, let's go ahead and like, subscribe, and all the buttons and stuff you push under there to show your support, and also drop some change in the chat room as a super chat. So let me get back to it. As we like to say all the time, this is, well, not all the time, but on Women's Wednesday, we like to spotlight certain sisters that's, contributed to our culture. So who do I want to talk about today? No, not Reby Jackson, but let's go to the root of the matter. Let's talk about Catherine. All right. Catherine Esther Jackson. Let me tell you about Catherine. In case you don't know, this is the mother of the whole Jackson clan. Coming straight out of Clayton, Alabama. That's right, Clayton, Alabama. Big up to Bama. Right now, she's like 93 years old, still here, living in California. But she came out of there. You know, at first, she had polio at age 2. She had a little limp and stuff like that. But that ain't got nothing to do with anything. Just let you know a little bit of her history. She also wanted to be a country singer. Didn't see a lot of black country singers, so she kind of dialed it down. They wound up moving to East Chicago, Indiana. That's where she met Joe Jackson. That's right. And within a year of them meeting and dating, they went ahead and got married and had a 2-bedroom house that gave them 9 children. 9 children. Actually, one of them died during birth. Brandon David Jackson. But yeah, so had a bunch of kids. Gave us the Jackson 5. Gave us Janet. Gave us Latoya and Reby. You know what I'm saying? So let's get serious. Anyway, so they wound up getting on Motown Records, and they blew up. You know, she actually was she still sang, and actually while Joe was playing the guitar, she would be singing and stuff like that. So she kept her singing going for a while, and then she got to watch her family blow up. Her and Joe tried to divorce like a couple times, never happened, but Joe wound up making his transition and moving on, and that's what happened. But Michael dedicated his Thriller album to his mom. Janet dedicated Rhythm Nation to their mom, you know, and Essence even honored her as Mother of the Year. So Catherine has been doing her thing, like I said. Other than that, she's still over there in California. She was holding down Michael's kids. They wind up getting older, and she wound up getting older. So she was like, listen, y'all go do your thing. And that's what happened. So like I said, she's still doing it over in California, 93 years old. Thank you for your contribution, especially all the music your kids gave us. Thank you, Catherine Jackson. All right, with that said, let's get back to the Remix Morning Crew.
I love that song. I don't know why I love that song so much.
It's so 80s, boy.
I know. Anytime that
Very
song
80s.
comes on, bam!
I love it too.
You said Michael Jackson and kids in the same sentence. I just don't know if that's true.
Michael Jackson, what?
You said Michael Jackson's kid.
Oh, his kid. I know.
Yeah, you know. Come on, you know.
Play kids.
Yeah.
You know, like you say, play cousins, play kids.
Let that man rest. Let that man rest.
Let's keep it 500.
Look at the bullshit.
Yes, sleep.
That's Billie Jean. The kid is not his.
Let him go.
And I want to say something controversial.
Uh-oh.
Hear me out. This is short, but hear me out. I'm not in favor of abuse. Of course, who is? None of us are.
Yeah.
But can we say, without Joe Jackson's strict discipline,
This guy.
would we have not have gotten the music that is multi-generational that we had? What do y'all say about that?
Hey,
You
I
didn't make
say
them get them dance steps down.
I've been telling you that about your kids this whole time.
Didn't you just recommend them to be the first family?
My decent looking kid.
Your decent looking,
My decent looking kid.
bright kids.
I say bright. Oh, that type of bright. Got you. But listen.
If they're Kamal's kids, they're bright. Like, have you heard? Have you heard?
I will say though, Lucretia, that's also like when you call somebody bright.
Oh yeah, I know. I wasn't thinking about it like that.
Oh, I was. Oh, he left us. He couldn't take it no more.
I got things to do.
No, but I've been telling you to little tap in the chest sometimes when they be acting out of line. Get them in line.
Little tap.
Little tap.
No.
You ain't gotta hit them all hard. You ain't gotta put. My dad had a belt drawer. He had a drawer and made me go get the belt. My mom would make me go to the backyard and get the switch. And look at me now.
I'm looking.
No. Would Raj hit his kids from
Well, now,
RRR?
I mean, now you've made the perfect
No.
argument for why that should never happen. So
Exactly.
I'm looking.
I take it all back. I take it all back. I take it all back.
All right.
Michael would have found his way to the stage.
I mean, though, and the crazy thing is like a 2-bedroom with 9 kids.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well,
Oh,
that my mother was in a 3-bedroom. She's one of 14 in Trinidad.
good Lord.
Mm.
Yeah,
Man.
same. My dad was one of 10, and they had like one cabin. So
Mm.
Cabin stabbing, boy. I'll tell you.
Cabin stabbing.
That right there, that I think that goes back to having land and stuff like that. Like having mad kids so they can make sure they can tend to the fields and stuff like that. Or am I going to slavery?
I like if they had land, I don't know about it.
I mean, you know, when you ain't got a lot to do, like, you know, they say experts say that larger families, particularly sort of low income, you know, as folks like to describe it. Usually, it's in some ways it's also a social security benefit, as in folks raise and take care of their parents, and there's so many of them that part of the idea of the lineage is that that's who's going to take care of the parents. And again, less to do. What else you gonna do but bring them babies out? You know what I mean? And in the South, I mean, but that's 2 or 3 generations ago. Like people ain't having babies like they used to in that way.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. Because my mom would talk about her aunt having, you know, like the 13, 14 kids, whatever. That wasn't all that unusual or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't that much love out in the world at that time, so they had to make it at home. I get it.
No, that was actually sweet in some weird way. I
that's a
like that.
sweet spin on the
Yeah.
potential, you know.
And no birth control.
Yeah, like potential like lack of access to the birth
And I'm
control
like, I
and,
don't know if that was it.
and
Whoa.
like
That
force,
is
you
You got a
know,
little dark there, Lucretia.
I didn't think it like that.
Yeah,
Like-
I was the ear doctor on that one.
Oh wow, she went to birth control.
I mean, I was thinking it, but y'all were like, "Oh," so I shut up.
yeah, I was like, well, it could be that, but also
It also
It wasn't about the love. Just couldn't afford the birth control. Wow. Ah, man, y'all great.
true.
But yo, Jamila, big up to you. I know you probably back in the chat room. Thanks for coming through. Like you said, you're welcome to come back anytime, man.
Yeah. And don't be interrupting people when they're doing they
Right.
thing.
How you
I
know we were about to
what you
clip
doing?
that and everything? Use it for propaganda. All in the middle of my segment. All in the middle of my segment. Correcting people.
throwing people off the game. It went so well.
You know what I'm
My-
saying?
My
It's
bad,
like-
Ricky, but you know sometimes you forget the etiquette when you're on
Mhm.
screen.
And you're in the
You do it
background
the way
being
you
God.
wanted. It went well.
Yeah. No, she was doing the setup and then she was going to introduce her guest.
Right.
It's a common practice.
Okay.
Oop, he said, okay.
Ooh.
Right.
And we reached as high as up to 517. And again, you know, compliments to Jamila in the topic area. You know, having a guest on sometimes can cause a dip, but in this case, it went up. So, you know,
Yeah.
we reached over 5. We still have well over 500 people. We don't have the money to back that
I
up.
didn't
mean,
see much in the chat room dropping any coin, but I did
Yeah, I
see
was-
They were
Nikki
listening.
Nikki
Nikki
did.
H $20.
Thank you, Nikki.
you.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah, we can pay her.
I think they're getting kind of cheap on the remix morning show. What's going on with y'all?
Yeah, the job is hard.
That's actually a little on the
It's
high side.
austerity is outside.
What's the matter? Why can't
Austerity is outside. Okay, the food done went up, the gas done went up, the rent done went up.
For all of us. That's why they need to drop more coins. A couple of more dollars here.
Salaries stay the
Couple.
same. Yeah.
I want to
Don't make it
stay.
$1.99 though. I don't like it when you do that.
I want to stay producing the remix
Everyone
morning
just
show.
give $1.99 because Kamal doesn't.
Because
like
Kamal
it.
said
right? Yeah, do that just to be vindictive.
It's
I like
100
that word.
people get $1.99.
There you go.
All right, we got 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
I guess
I
y'all
feel like
got.
there's anything in the music world y'all want to discuss or something. I feel like we should keep it light for the last 10 minutes before because you definitely got to do a spin, B. 2 days in a row. Well over 500 people here.
Okay.
We ended in 10 minutes for a full 5-minute Biggie tribute.
Well,
spin.
since this is Women's Wednesday, we're gonna leave it to the
Biggie.
women to decide what we're gonna do next.
We
Ryan
want Biggie.
Guthrie.
Who?
Who?
See, every fucking time.
Ain't nothing going on but the rent.
I mean, how
You
many
gotta
times
have
can
a
he spin that? How
J-O-B.
many times can he spin that?
If
How
you
many hits
wanna
does she
be
have
with
besides that?
me.
2.
That's it.
No, it's not. She
Okay.
also had Closer to You. She
We
did a little
still don't know
Carpenter's
that one.
remix.
Yeah, we still don't know that one.
You don't know that.
really had to know her to like her to find that song. But what was you saying, ladies? What would y'all like to go? Where would y'all like to go next? While we have 507 people watching live.
I say we keep it light and then we get a 5-minute mix. I'm with
Yeah.
Kamal.
Damn.
Okay. All right. Other than music going on in the world, I don't know what's going on really. It's nothing big that is worth even talking about. You know, you got Diddy still underground. Talks of him and Meek Mill having some things going on, but that's gossip. Other than
Right.
that, no
I'm not
real,
mad at that.
huh?
I'm not mad at the gossip.
other than that, there's no real nothing coming out right now.
We had the
when it comes to
Oscars
music.
the other day, and a
Oh,
black
yeah.
woman won Best Supporting Actress for a
What, she
movie
was
I
played a
didn't.
slave?
I don't know.
I haven't seen the movie. I was like,
Did
I don't
she
watch
cry?
Oscars anymore.
She either had to play a slave, she either had to cry or something. Which one was it?
I have not seen the movie. I have no idea.
I did see the
But
movie.
Vicky, you going to say something about you? You said
Yeah, I
earlier?
was gonna say, Sean King has converted.
Right.
But I heard that.
To what?
That is the question.
Islam.
That is the question. I think all the fates to just get together and bully the shit out of him into atheism. Just
So he's
No,
Sean
he-
King X now?
yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, I
well,
don't think he joined the
he's a real
nation. I think he
Talcum
joined-
X,
No.
right?
Say it
But no,
again?
he converted. He's really Talcum X now.
Oh, shots.
Yeah, he converted it.
Ricky.
Yeah, see, look.
Woo, shots by Ricky the Fire. Oh my goodness. Malcolm
He
X.
converted and now he's on tour with what's his name? Khalid, I forget his last name. He's another questionable figure. But they're on tour for Palestine. It's an exclusive tour. Mhm.
An
You
exclusive
can
tour.
pay to hear them speak.
Oh. Man, we slacking over here, boy.
Listen.
We slacking. What are we
Griffin done
doing?
moved to Islam. The Griffin left the Baptist church because he was with the Baptist church when he started the Coney stuff. And now he is.
Oh, you can book him.
Yeah, you can book him.
I don't know if this is a celebrity talent. It's Sean King is an articulate writer and speaker. He's a journalist for this must be old. Writer in residence at Harvard, King uses social media reporting and other means to work as an activist for justice. He's specifically focused on humane advocacy for victims of brutality and discrimination. King participates in Black Lives Matter movement. How to hire Sean King? Damn, I don't got none of this set up.
That's what I was saying. We
Yeah.
You got
bullshitting.
nothing.
Do
You
that
got
for you
nothing.
now. Mhm.
One of us. I'm always back. I told you I had I literally had. There's an organizer, Amber, who she probably listens to this, but she don't comment. I'm not going to give a lot. She's like 25, 26. She's like, come out when you speak. Like, what do you charge? I was like, charge? I was like, I don't know. Like, they cover flight or whatever. I'm good to go. Like, she's like, what? I like sometimes 200 or 300. She's like, oh, I get 1,500 per speaking gig. I was like, what? I was
Where
like,
did you speak at?
Where's she?
I was like,
Where?
what?
Sign me up.
Right, and you be bringing it, yo. I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just
You-
bad at it. I'm
You
just
need a
bad.
manager.
I probably do. But I don't need that now because somebody,
Yeah.
I'm accused of clout chasing some
Yeah.
aspect. Of it. I don't need none of that
hold
right now.
on.
I don't need none of that. I'm retired.
Uh-oh.
I'm retired.
Don't try to
Wow.
build that social capital.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
So when you got a lot of stuff going on and you still dedicate yourself to the liberation movement and you get out in front of the camera and speak, unlike the other people that's in the background, that's clout chasing?
Apparently, agitation is social
Yeah.
capital.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Apparently.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because when you
Why they-
are in a leadership position of a organization, apparently you're not expected to be forward facing or visible at
No.
any point.
No,
Supposed to
no.
just hide in a corner somewhere and grovel
Okay.
for.
So you do all this.
Oh.
and-
Grovel
and-
for the money that gets spent on other people's salaries. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Oh, well,
Because we got to wrap up. It's almost
We gotta
time for
wrap
the
up.
next
I don't
segment.
think
No,
Hang on,
we got
reel it back.
at least 5 more minutes.
We got 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Don't be trying to tease it out here, doctor. Don't
No,
get me
we're gonna
started.
give y'all a 5-minute mix, but keep going now. Because
I need a manager then. Because ear doc, you might have to be my manager to get me the profile I need. I'm saying I can bring down that Van Jones.
You see that capitalist hand rub
I
right
was
there?
never bring down that Van Jones.
Look.
They call me Don Bling. Where my jewelry at? No, but that's wild. The fact that you actually get out in front of the cameras and you risk it all for people that sit in the back and judge.
You know, I'm not gonna go as far. I'm not risking. You know, there's things that you do. You know, I in my explanation of it, it was like I'm going 20 years without trying to talk to a camera or whatever like that. Like, you know, so there's this one time period where it starts to happen, and it becomes that weirdness of like how people look at you or think that you're trying to move. Obviously, some people appreciate it in the sense of like, you know, I'm an older dude, I'm a lawyer, I don't really get nervous in front of cameras or whatever. And I feel like I have enough background knowledge to sort of put together a quick message that serves its purpose. Not always, you know, everybody fucks up, like, oops, I wish I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
Or when they cut it and you see it, you go like, goddamn. So anything you say all behind you is like people throwing rocks and shit like that. So, you know, so they do their thing. But I think it's something that we all got to look out for in terms of when people do that stuff. Like, you know, they are clout chasing. But I think there's a level of like, if you believe, or you like to believe that you're trying to make sure you get the word out about what the fight is and do it in a principled manner, in a manner that keeps the radical politics, that people will give you grace to do that, particularly when it supports the larger movement. So, yeah.
So they back what you're saying, but they don't back you being the person that's
I don't think it's been the content that people like, at least the people who've said it. I think it's more the fact that they see me and then they are suggesting that I like to do it. It's like, I don't like to do none of this shit, to be honest. Like, so
Right.
like, I wish the world was perfect, but
I personally, you know, I'm ready to retire and just, you know, eat some Wheaties and whatever, and sit in front of my computer and shit. So, you know,
eat some oatmeal. I mean, I get it, man. That's wild. Being the front man. What about you, Ricky? Are you like the front person of your organization? How is that life treating you?
I do a lot. So I inevitably have to be like, I have to jump on interviews to talk about different things and all of that. But I talked a bit about it with Jackie on Darker Than Blue when I raised, I don't necessarily think the issues that I've come across has anything to do with me being a woman, but just in leadership. And I think there's a certain particular adversarial kind of position people take with leadership that they just project on. So it's never really a political indifference. It's more of like a personal one that they make a political thing, or they attempt to make a political thing. But I think that comes with organizing. There's ebbs and flows. There's people who are coming to spaces politically immature. There's people who grow out of that. And there's people who, you know, they don't. And there's people who find their way. But I don't think it's, you know, I think it's such a common tendency these days, that sort of political immaturity, that these issues pop up around visibility, around what they're calling social capital and things like that. But I'm also like the vice chair of the coordinating committee. So I do have to be visible. I do have to make sure I know what I'm saying and things like that.
So what advice would you give Kamal in what he's dealing with right now?
And me, you know, someone who is definitely much more of a behind the scenes person, but I like chatting with people, like in conversation. So like,
would you do more media work if the opportunity presented itself?
I think in definitely like a conversation style, sort of like because my background is teaching. So I love talking and like working out problems long-term with people through conversations. Yeah. I would love to do that.
Well, I just tossed Jamila on here this morning. So I mean,
well, Jamila's amazing. That's not a good example. Like, I don't think you should use.
That's how I build up leadership. push them out there.
I agree.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just like the bird. Put some more
Yeah.
out the nest. Let's go.
I agree.
All right, listen. I'm 5 minutes. We got into it. You know I'm about keeping my time. So I guess
How are
we
you
get-
now?
Come on. Let
Hey.
them know, Kamal. Let them know.
That's true. I can't.
You're on
I
it
can't.
today.
I give him that.
Not today.
Oh.
Every day. All right. So let's go ahead and get to it. This is the Remix Morning Show. We got a little mix for y'all. So make sure y'all tune in again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. as we get it in again. And tell a friend and tell a friend. Thank y'all for coming through. Remix Morning Crew. This is how we do.
Never let them worry you at all. You can only be yourself, my friend, that's all. I'm sure they have said things many times before, and still them can't fathom it, and that's for sure. The way Rasta go, that's for them to know. We too pure, make the most of love is always you. No matter how we dress, how we ragga here, we not care. Our love is always here. No matter how we dress, how we ragga here, we not care. Oh, you like anyone else to face the ragga stress. We never got to know unuse our bless. God bless to this strain and stress. What a survival, yeah, me branching them neck. Now you judge the book. I've got to tell you that you're wrong on the way I look. Can't determine who I am, Babylon. Love is always here. No matter how we dress, how we ragga here, we not care. Your love is always here. No matter how we dress, how we ragga here, we not care. Hey, in what position that you are, don't be a fake. Yo, and if you want us to watch us, make we love turn hate. The thing that you look at my smiling face. Hey, you are got to because of poking at your plate. Cool, yo, speech and things together like needle and thread. Sisters and brothers eating up charter bread. Aunts are gonna slap your license before you love. You're discriminating instead. Oh my gosh, hey, never let them worry you at all.
Yeah. As we keep it going and keep it grooving and keep it moving right here on the Remix Morning Show, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Make sure y'all tune in on Sundays to Sundays Radio.
Hey, young world is yours. Hey, young world is yours. Young world.
The world is yours.
This rap
It may cause concern. It's
boring.
why don't you listen and learn?
Love things happen.
That once was strong,
But you see society.
even that's turned wrong.
Times have changed.
Hey, it's cool to look bummy and be a dumb dummy and disrespect your mommy.
Have you forgotten?
Who put you on this earth, huh?
But you are proud.
And who loved you since your birth? Reward is a brainwashed kid going wild. Young little girls already have a child.
Bad company.
And now you've been framed.
The parents are hurting.
Hurted and ashamed.
For ruining yourself.
And your mommy can't cope. Hey, little kids, don't follow these dopes.
As a rule from a non-fool.
Your life don't drool. Don't be a fool like those that don't go to school.
Get ahead.
And accomplish things. You'll see the wonder and the joy life brings.
Don't admire these.
Hey, they don't admire you. Their time's limited, hard rocks too. So listen, be strong, scream, whoopee-doo. Go for yours, cause dreams come true.
I don't eat no meat, no dairy, no sweets. Only right vegetables, fresh fruit and whole wheat. I'm from the old school, my household smell like soul food.
Come on.
Bruh. Curry falafel,
Yeah.
barbecue tofu.
Let's
No
get it.
fish though, no candy bars, no cigarettes. Only ganja, fresh squeezed juice from oranges. Exercising daily to stay healthy. And I rarely drink water out the tap.
And we
'cause
outta
it's
here, y'all.
filthy.
Lentil soup
And-
is mental fruit
Yeah.
and ginger root
What?
is good for the youth. Fresh vegetable with them Ital stew. Sweet yam fries with the green callaloo. Careful how you season and prepare your foods, cause you don't wanna lose vitamins and minerals, and that's the jewel. Life brings life, it's valuable. So I eat what comes from the ground, it's natural.
And we out of here, y'all. Remix Morning Show. Peace.